So Will Levis had a little bit of a mishap, and I think I did see this stat that the Titans are the first team to have I think it's a pick six, a blocked punt, and like some other thing happen in consecutive games for the first time in like well over 20 years. Like it hasn't happened before. Levis had another awful turnover and fumbled the ball late. Just not great. And he got screamed at by Brian Callahan, the coach there, who was not happy about it. And he laid into him on the sideline. And so he was asked yesterday whether or not the coach of the Titans if he regretted his handling of that in the moment, and this is how it sounded.
I think the camera caught it pretty clear, if I had to guess. So, I was upset. It was dumb. It was the same exact thing he did last week, and he cost us points in the red zone, and that is what it is. He's a grown-up, and he knows better, and so, I was really irritated that he cost us 3 points in a game that we probably needed it. I coach Will hard, but, I do love him pretty hard, too, and I think that's okay. I think we can have those moments, and unfortunately, an intense moment got captured because I'm also the head coach, not just the offensive coordinator, and so those conversations don't always get caught on television, and it happens a lot, but mine happened to be in front of everybody. So I don't regret it, but I do coach Will hard, and I think he's accepting of that coaching, and I thought he did a lot of things a lot better.
Does it bother you guys?
He's not wrong.
He was truthful.
Yeah, he's not wrong.
I mean, that's real raw emotions, and I mean, if anyone who saw the video clip, I will go ahead and give you the tea leaves, but he basically said, "What the F are you doing?"
And he ain't wrong.
No. I mean, it was one of the most head-scratching plays
I think we
I've
all
seen in quite some time.
Yeah.
First 2 weeks, and that's probably what you thought at times watching Will Levis the first couple of weeks, is it's almost like he's trying to do too much, and it's hurting their team. And they are not a team that can afford to have a quarterback make those sorts of mistakes and overcome them. They're not there yet as a team, and they're not that team right now anyway. So I appreciate the honesty. Like I've been around Cali before, back during our time we're both in Denver. You always felt like he was going to be a head coach, and I think one of the things that players appreciate the most is honesty. And LaVar, tell me if I'm different in this, but it doesn't matter how it comes across. Either you could be super nice, kind of comes off as soft sometimes though, or you can be an a-hole. It doesn't matter. As long as you're honest and you're being truthful as a coach with a player, they'll respect that.
Respect that, yeah. Yeah. Unless you're too honest too many times and it's kind of negative, I think guys have a hard time with it because sometimes, I had a coach say, if I tell you the truth, can we still be friends? Because really guys get too sensitive at times being told the truth, or at least what is perceivable.
I think half the problem there is I don't think that you can be friends with a coach, at least not while you're playing.
Well,
I think it crosses a line in my opinion.
You think?
That's just me. Yeah, because I think you can be friendly. It's like, especially when they're in a way, they're not a superior, but there's someone who ultimately
they're an authoritative figure, though.
Yeah,
in a way.
And they could impact your job status in a way, right?
Sure.
Like if they go to ask your coach, hey man, like what's going on? And it comes down to the coach getting fired or you getting benched, you're getting benched.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
So I think that relationship is always hard to say. It's a friendship, at least in the moment when you're working together like that.
I've had coaches I've had friendships with, and I was, for one reason or another, I would say it was just based off of relationship dynamic in terms of seeing what was going on in that building. I think everybody at some point was, or at least when you got to a certain coaching staff, where it's almost like you looking at them as dead men walking, coming in to begin with. Like you have no idea what you're getting yourself into. And then you start to share stories. You learn about people's families, different things like that. I will say probably one or two, like George Edwards, that was my dog, like my friend, like as my coach. And you just got to, I think that you just got to be very responsible and understanding that, we could be cool, but our jobs are our jobs. And I think that's what ultimately, came down for me. Like if I felt a certain type of way, I wasn't going to not say it because we were pretty close, or he wasn't going to not coach me hard because we weren't close. So I don't know. I just always felt as though And there is that idea of understanding that there's a fine line there between somebody who cares about your well-being and your welfare, at least appears to, versus someone who is just coaching you, like doing your job. I think coaching is one of those unique jobs where you have to try to find a healthy balance, because if a guy doesn't feel like you have any type of care towards them or any type of feeling towards them, like you said, like truthful is one thing, but genuine in nature is also, another thing. And I feel like you got to form some type of a relationship with a coach if you're going to feel that they genuinely are have your best interest in mind as a group or as a player, which that's not necessarily what it has to be, but I would like for it to be that.
I was going to ask you guys this as well. Like, does it bother you when you hear people on the outside go, God, that was a bit harsh. Like, he shouldn't, take that approach. Like, that he was very animated. Like, they're, and
you should hear high school parents.
Well, like, because Callahan's, his dad's a coach, like a legendary coach. He's grown up around coaching his entire life. I think he could read whether or not Will Levis can handle that type of coaching or not. I think he's been around it enough to know there's certain guys maybe you can talk to in certain moments and other ones that you can't. And Will Levis strikes me as the type of guy that responds to hard coaching and probably didn't take it personally or didn't take offense to it, but it's people on the outside who want to like speak for him and say, well, listen, a coach shouldn't take that kind of approach. Well, how the hell do you know? You're not in the room.
Yeah, look, this is an instance where this was one of those like head-scratching, boneheaded plays. So, look, there's a way of being coached and there's a way of, what's happening on the field and talking to a player. And to me, that's like that one moment this shouldn't symbolize how Brian Callahan coaches. And I'm not like speaking for him. I'm just saying it's one moment where, much like everyone else who was a Titans fan, anyone else who was betting on the Titans or is a Will Levis fan was like, what the F were you doing? I mean, that would have been the same question my mom or dad would ask me if that was me after a game. Like, what the F were you doing? So, it's one play, it's one instance. I don't think you need to overblow it and make it about like how he coaches. That's a small percentage of the time how he coaches. But the truth is, it's the NFL. Like, who gives a crap at that point? If you're making those sorts of boneheaded plays, you're not going to be in the NFL very long.
And they're all adults.
And as you said, like, this is your profession. You're all adults. Like people on the outside, like it's hard to understand the intensity of the environment of an NFL locker room and team and season and sidelines and all that, because there's few jobs that have the type of pressure that you have when you have 17 opportunities to prove what you are, whether as a team, individual, coach. That's all you get. So it's hard then to hear other people talk about, how a guy's going to coach. It's like, dude, you can't compare it to anything you've ever experienced before at any other level, because the money's so big, the stakes are so big, the intensity of it all, it's all so big that you just can't look at it at any other lens and say, oh, this is, comparable to this. It's not. It's the NFL. It's unique in its own sense.